I wanted to go touch on a really important topic, and the topic is semen retention and sexual transmutation and the greats. You see, great men have used sexual energy and transmuted sexual energy in order to create fantastic work. Here's a great example. Michael Jackson. Young Michael Jackson did not have a single girlfriend throughout almost basically the entirety of his 20s. Michael Jackson did not have a girlfriend during his 20s. He was famously notorious for just playing with animals, going home, and working constantly on his music, on his craft, on his dance practice, and a whole host of other things. And there's many other people that are like that. Prince, he had female assistants, but he would even spoke about it in interviews how he would go on periods of sexual celibacy and use that energy in order to transmute into his music and into his craft. There's many ancient examples of this. I mean, in the Bhagavad Gita, the Hindu Bible, okay, we'll call it the Indian Bible. In the Indian Bible, it talks about how brahmacharya is the act of taking your sexual energy and transmuting it into something else. I've read in the book Think and Grow Rich. Napoleon Hill talks about how there's many wonders that can be expressed with your sexual sacral energy. And he actually says it word for word. Most people, when they reach their 40s and 50s, most men in particular, we tend to have our greatest accomplishments in our 40s and our 50s, and sometimes even our 60s and 70s. And 6, 7, the reason why that is the case is because men don't realize that their superpower, women have the superpower of being able to create human life, of being able to be the nurture the seed to become a human life. They're the ovens that cooks up the bread. They chef it up. They're the chefs in the kitchen. Pause. But um men, on the other hand, were the seeds of human life. So, therefore, the potential of life rests upon the man. Now, you can spill that potential. You can use that potential in more animalistic ways and more lower primal ways, or you can use it for higher, more astral, more ethereal ways, like building a business or building a music career and being a young superstar like me, or doing whatever it is you want to do. Now, it talks about the reason why men in their 40s and 50s and just people in general tend to have their highest accomplishments is because they find out that this energy, they finally start utilizing and transmuting this amazing blessing that God has given us, this amazing libido and drive. And they start transmuting it in their when they reach middle ages, and unknowingly, unconsciously, like they start accomplishing a lot more. Now, if imagine you start doing this in your teens, your 20s, and your 30s, you do this while you're young. Oh my goodness, your power is just unstoppable. Your drive, your momentum, the things that you complete, it's just inconceivable. That's why greats like Michael Jackson, he didn't have girls. He could have had any girl he wanted. He did not allow himself to get distracted by women. He did not allow himself to get distracted by decadence and debauchery and social decay, which is very common in Hollywood, and instead focused it on becoming perennial, making the greatest work that he ever did. Off the Wall, Thriller, Bad. All those records came from his 20s. And the reason those albums came from that was it was directly attributed towards sexual transmutation. You don't just avoid women and then just like sit in a room all angry and frustrated like a freak. Instead, you go ahead, you take that energy, you work out, you create, you put in work. In my case, I make my videos, I make my music, I make my beats, I play the guitar, I sing my ass off. I'm a musical genius. The way to activate genius, according to Think and Grow Rich, is sexual transmutation. It is the rocket fuel that creates genius. It's the rocket fuel that gets you out of Earth's atmosphere. Most of your fuel will be used in the first mile when you're launching your ship out of the atmosphere. By the time you reach mile 62, you'll be in zero gravity, and therefore everything is much easier. Building a business, becoming successful is much easier after you've made $1 million than it is before you've made $10,000. The first 10,000 is the hardest. The first 100,000 is the hardest. But from 1 million to 10 million, it's like, it's easy. It's so much easier. And I know because I've spoken to a lot of millionaires, and they tell me all the time, your first $100,000 is absolute brutal difficulty. And it's the same thing in whatever quest you're on. So, with that being said, I've read Mastery by Robert Greene, and it talks about how in the beginning of mastery, you're lost, you have no skills, you're learning, and it's the hardest part. And I think that with sexual transmutation, you're able to skip past the stages of mastery much faster because you're utilizing the primal human spirit. You're utilizing the spirit of God. And that's what brings you closer to the spirit of God. And so I think that this is an important topic to talk about, for ambitious people or people who just want to accomplish beautiful things and have beautiful things. We look to the greats. We study the greats so that we may be greater. And Michael Jackson was doing SR. He was doing sexual transmutation. He was notorious for being deeply engulfed in sexual transmutation. He was very disciplined, an incredibly disciplined man. And there's many other great people who were the same way. Typically people who are genius, people who are intelligent, people who are creative, people who leave a lasting impact, a lasting mark in this world. So, that's the type of person I am. That's the type of person you are. So go ahead, take what you want from this video, laugh at me, I don't think anybody's gonna laugh at me for making this video. If you do laugh at me, you're such a peasant. Like, you're such a peasant. But with that being said, I had to make this video because it's what I felt like talking about. And I'm just not gonna, I didn't script it. I just knew I needed to make this video because it's just what I feel like right now making. So we're gonna go cook up some beats right now. You guys ready?